Hello and welcome back to the channel. This video is part of the Knife Throwing for Dummies playlist or series, chapter 3 on instinctive knife throwing, or chapter on instinctive knife throwing, chapter 3. This will be video 2, style versus no style, and finger control, hopefully. Okay, so there is of course the debate of course there's a debate because we're humans, so we cannot agree on anything, nor we should, because that makes it very interesting. Okay? That makes it challenging and interesting. Let's go with instinctive no spin, but it goes for every other method of instinctive knife throwing. Is it no spin, half spin, or full spin? 1.5 spin. Is there a style or a no style, or everybody just doing a hybrid? So now, if we go back a couple of videos ago, I was talking about knife throwing, in my opinion, is somewhere between precision shooting and martial arts. Okay, it's not halfway, it's kind of floating in between. Every different topic, the position will change. Okay, it's floating. Now, in martial arts, there's only so many different ways you can punch, and so many different ways you can block, so many different ways you can kick. Okay, and for example, let's go with the stand-up fighters. Every martial art has a different view of how to make this happen, how to deliver the power, the speed, and everything else. And of course, in competition, the points. Okay, what scores you the most points on all that, right? So the result of these ideas or these views, the style has developed either a forward stance, a backward stance, a side-on stance, a lower guard, higher guard, and this becomes a visual representation, so to speak. Okay, now the styles are not visually different, but it shows up because they base understanding or foundational differences. Now, between a taekwondo kick or a kyokushin kick, there are differences. Okay, they go for a different, they make it happen in a different way to suit the style. Okay, there's a foundational difference, so it shows visually. Okay, now where I'm going with this, if you look at knife throwers, let's stay with no spin, not to complicate things even further, you'll see a different set of motions or slightly different set of movements. Okay, now this is the visual, I should say, effect of a different foundation of how we are doing this. Okay, now there is within this, of course, there's a push and a pull debate, which I'll come back later. Okay, now there is the harder throw versus hardly any effort into it, yet it hits like a brick. Visually, the motion, the body mechanic is different. Now, if they are visually different, therefore the foundation must be different, therefore there are different styles. Okay, simple as that. Okay, or at least this is my take on this question. So there are certain styles which are taught in schools or clubs, for example, but not limited to SNAF. That has at least 2 or 3 different organizations: BIM Style, Neil Ahmadu, IVA. As you notice, most of these are wave stars or wave-based stars. So if they are taught in schools, that means there's a curriculum. And the question, is it better to learn a style from school, which of course has certain fees and club memberships and blah, 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 whatever, associated fees, yes, some more, some less. Is it better to learn from them or learn by yourself? By watching videos, because everything is on YouTube. I mean, you're watching me on YouTube, right? So everything is on YouTube. You can watch it, you can reverse engineer it, figure out why and how, and then replicate it. Not copy the movement, but try to figure out the foundations, the base layers of why and how. Or is it easier to or better to learn from a teacher? Now, if you want to be style specific, I would say learn from a teacher, because there could be some little small pieces of movement or theory that they will tell you, and this is not openly floating in the interweb, okay, interweb, whatever. And they give you instant feedback within a couple of days or whatever, depends on how the school is set up. So you know that you're on the right path. You're not wandering off and then coming back or whatever, right? But on the other hand, all of these styles have been developed by a person, or some have developed by multiple persons. So if they could develop it, you can develop it, okay? Now, I have to mention that these guys who developed these styles were exceptional people. Okay, they were top of the line. Because let's face it, there are in every sport, there are people who are doing the sport and people who are excel at it. Okay, so these guys were the top of the line. But the saying goes, if one human can do it, everybody else can, if they have the right attributes and put in the right amount of time, so on and so forth, right? So in that sense, if you want to be style specific, in my opinion, learn from the teacher. If you just want to, and the just is in air quote, want to learn from YouTube. Ask questions in groups, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with this path or this path. The only problem is, especially if there are dedicated school to that particular throwing style, for example, SNAF or beam style, doesn't matter, pick one. And you're learning from YouTube videos by trying to figure it out yourself. Don't call yourself a beam star thrower or a SNAF thrower, because you haven't learned from, let's call it the horse's mouth, right? You haven't learned from the source. You're figuring it out for yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. But that means you are, and again, the just is in air quote because it's not just. You are a relaxed no spin thrower, or you're a sidearm thrower. I play a lot with relaxed sidearm, and I emphasize it every time. I'm not a SNAF thrower, okay? And I probably pronunciate it really badly, so I am sorry for those who are associated with SNAF. That's a beautiful throwing style, and I have a horrible pronunciation. But I'm not doing that. I'm playing with a relaxed sidearm motion, okay? Now, to build on this furthermore, in no spin throwing, or instinctive throwing, we control the forward rotation of speed, or most of us control it with the index finger, okay? Now, at least two sets of different people are controlled with the thumb. One is TAP. I think that's an Indonesian school. It's already a school, because they teach to have no spin throwing this way. thumb control, which says in TAP, thumb control anti-spin. Okay. And the other person is Jason Villar-Johnson. Awesome thrower, amazing thrower. Okay. And he does everything that doesn't suit me. Yet I admire the person because he's wow. Okay. He's got his throwing leg forward. Again, it's not working for me. He's having thumb control, not working for me. But the overall what he puts together, that's amazing. Okay, full admiration. So most of us control it with the thumb. The index finger, right? Now, to my knowledge, there's 4 different ways you can do this. One is flat on the spine, and as the knife leaves the hand, it's just a brushing on the index finger. Okay. The second one, when this brush is quite active, you're actively brushing, but you're still not pushing it, but you're actively brushing against. Third, the active push, when you're ritually, and you'll see me do this as well, pushing the knife out. The finger, the index finger, is not just brushing as the knife pulls out of the hand, it's actually pushing it as the knife leaves the hand. Okay. Fourth, the hyperextension of these ligaments, tendons, whatever is in here, right? Because they're not muscles. You're hyperextending the whole finger, and utilizing the elasticity of the tendons as they hyperextend and they want to go back. That provides that pullback, which is basically, it's like this. You pull it back and you let it go, it slaps. Okay. Which one is right? All of them. One is suited for you, and you have to figure out which one. But certain styles, utilizing one or the other as an active part of the style. For example, again, mispronunciating sknaf, they will have a relatively shallow grip, a very loose grip. The knife is literally loose. And because of that's another thing, you know. Some people would throw with strong, stiff wrist, and the whole arm does the movement. Some people, or some styles, use relaxed wrist. So it's already a fundamental difference. So therefore it has to be a different style, right? So as a pullback, that happens, okay? So that's not an active push, that's an elastic contraction, whatever. Elasticity as goes back together, okay? So you cannot be a snaf thrower if you don't do this, right? Some other styles, they use an active push, right? So you can be a hybrid thrower using an active push, but you cannot be in that particular style if you're not using the active push, because that's part of it. It's one of the foundational elements. Now you see where I'm trying to go with this. There's no right or wrong, but there are kind of paths that you kind of have to follow if you want to be associated with that, okay? Now, here comes the biggest thing, or my opinion, the biggest revelation that I could share, or biggest secret. If you decide to learn from a teacher, learn the foundations. Don't just be there for a couple of months. Take it or act like you're in a martial arts class. Achieve the understanding of what makes it happen. What is those foundational values or ideas, okay? And make that yours. Copy your teacher, get your teacher's ideas and understanding, write down. Don't try to go like, oh, but I don't think it works or whatever. No, listen to everything they have to say and learn everything they have to offer or can offer, okay? Once you completed the program, because most of these schools will have a set out curriculum and you complete it. Once you completed that, then you take a step back and say, well, there's two paths, yeah? One is say, yep, I'm going to be this particular style thrower no matter what, and you perfect it, right? You make it perfect, exactly how your teacher taught you. And the other path is taking a step back and says, well, these are the core foundations of this particular style, but some part of it doesn't suit me because, for example, joint mobility, age, certain health issues, whatever. How can I slightly change that to suit me better? So in that path, you don't want to be a carbon paper copy of your teacher. Look that term up if you're too young to understand. But you want to use the core foundations and make it yours. Now that will lead to a certain amount of hybrid style. And in my opinion, that is the greatest thing ever, because it is yours. It is you. It is completely what suits you. Now, the other big thing is don't get stuck in a rut, but don't try to get out of it too soon either. So as you're finding your way, sometimes some path leads to a dead end because suddenly you either have a pain in your elbow or you just can't pass whatever meterage that you want to be, or your accuracy rate or whatever. And then you have to realize, okay, I need to figure something else. But sometimes these are just small plateaus. So don't change too quickly, but recognize when you hit a dead end. Again, same as the last video. Very complex, very personal. Or just pick up a knife and throw it and see where it leads you. I'll choose to take the complex route, overthink some of the ideas, and then make up these videos out of it. Okay, so hope you enjoyed it, hope you learned something, or I give you something to think about while we're gonna come back and actually learn how to do no spin knife throwing. Thanks for listening, and I shall see you back soon.